It is training camp for the Toronto Raptors, kind of like the first days of school. Savanna Hamilton alongside Paulie Jones and Sherman Hamilton will be breaking down the new faces, what to expect in these days. So Jonesy, going to dive right on in. What can we expect? What is training camp like for these guys?
Well, like you said, the day of school. On the first day when you get your locker and you see all your friends and you kind of start to establish routines and you find a good seat in the classroom and all of those things. It's the same thing, whether you're, Fred VanVleet, who's got an NBA championship ring, or, Delano Banton or Scotty Barnes, who's coming in as a rookie, or, a training camp invitee. It's all about the same things. You're trying to establish the culture, the way the team's going to play. You're doing the basic drills and things that you don't necessarily have time to do over the course and the rigors of an NBA schedule. You're doing closeout drills. You're spending the time to play one-on-one with guys. You're doing breakdowns of your offense. You're not doing the whole offense. You're doing a piece here, a piece there. You're putting it all together. You're learning the playbook. You're getting to know teammates. So all of those things go on in training camp, and it's intense. And it's funny, you look at the video from training camps around the league, you see all the same drills being done, the defensive closeout drills, the 5-on-0 dry run offense drills. You go right back to the beginning. John Wooden, the great John Wooden at UCLA, used to start his training camps with teaching his players how to tie their shoes so they don't come undone during the game. Same kind of thing in NBA training camps. You go right back to the basics.
Jonesy, what was that drill called? The 5 guys on a string? The defensive?
5 guys on a string. You're seeing a lot of the closeout drills where guys come together at the foul line area, then go out to the perimeter and close out. Then it rotates again. You're seeing guys learning how to lock and trail again. It's like somebody has been driving for 40 years and you say, okay, this is the key to start the car. Yeah, I know that, but you go right back to the basics.
And let's get straight to the basics. Sherm, how important is it to have those keys to the car? How important is this time in terms of training camp and preseason for the guys, especially the new faces?
It's very important, Sav. When you think about how teams come together and have to stick together through the course of a season, this is where it starts. This is where the foundational base begins, and understanding each other and also knowing the different tendencies of guys both on and off the floor. And I think your leaders really establish that tone and understand the camaraderie of the team can really get you through those tough times in February and March when guys are kind of gnawing at each other. You may be going through a losing streak. How do you kind of stick together and hunker down and get through it? It's training camp. It's times like these that get it done. And I really think that you develop more than just on the court stuff. We're talking about drill, the basics. All the fundamentals have to be relived during training camp. But understanding how to communicate with teammates, understanding how these different personalities have to be interconnected to create a successful environment on and off the floor. Again, your leaders like Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, you expect them to be very influential from that perspective. But I just think there's so many levels that have to be touched during training camp. And this is why it's so important. And we've all seen it where guys join teams or teams don't have a full training camp. And you see how long it takes them to figure some things out because they didn't have that extended period to really put things together. So there are many levels that are impacted via training camp, and they are vitally important. Veterans don't like it. Coaches love it, and young players love it. But veterans, they can do without it.
Let's hear from Scotty Barnes and Delano Banton.
I would just say really playing hard, taking it step by step. Again, really learn the system, and learn how to play with these guys. I would just say it's going to be a process. I'm not really worried about it. I trust my game, so I would just say it's just going to be a process, a step by step, time by time. I'm going to learn throughout the season. So I would just say that's really the biggest goal, just learn how to play with these guys, learn their tendencies and different things like that, so just we can be one complete team. What spots on the floor? Really don't matter to me. I feel like any spot on the court, I can really make something happen. No matter if it's at the top of the key, corner, it don't matter. At the block, I feel like make things happen from anywhere on the floor. Because I can just do so many different things. So it doesn't really matter to me. I feel like I'm comfortable with him anyway. Like really, they just really just tell me to be who I am, be myself, play hard, keep bringing that energy on the floor because it's infectious to the team.
It's just been a dream come true just to wake up and, come to the Raptors facility. I feel like playing basketball growing up, every kid wants to get drafted to their home city. So, just being able to get drafted is a blessing, but to where you're from is definitely two dreams coming true at once. So, just living the everyday life and just, everybody just welcoming me and, seeing people on the street, just them recognizing who I am and just everybody embracing me and just, being able to show up for the city and put on for the city is just such a blessing. So, I'm grateful for it and, I'm loving every day of it. Yeah, definitely. Coming into the organization, you never really know what to expect, but, just coming in and having, just not the veterans giving you advice, but, from other rookies, just going through it together and guys who've only been 1 year guys or 2 year guys and just kind of soaking up knowledge from everyone. We're all here to work and get better. And, we all know that the goal is to win games here. So, we're all just, feeding off each other and, giving what we can to each other. And, you can never have too much knowledge. So, whether it's Goran or Fred sharing knowledge with me, I take it the same way as if it was Scotty or another rookie. So, I feel like just being in a position where there's a lot of guys you can learn from in a situation like this. So, I learn and take in as much as I can from everyone. Yeah, definitely, just kind of finding a way to shoot the same time every time, it's kind of more so about, muscle memory. And that's kind of what they've been preaching to me and, bringing the ball up straight instead of, kind of coming across my body and, just different small tips and, aiming for the back rim. But it's a lot of just reps. They tell you they can teach you how to shoot, but, you have to put in the work and, you have to do what you have to do to make the results come. So kind of just, taking in everything they say and then, just going and doing it on my own and putting the work in with it.
So Jonesy, Scotty is one of the top prospects that we've had on the Raptors team coming from the draft in a long time. What are some realistic expectations for him?
Well, look, a lot of people, he's going to be under the microscope. And the great thing about it is the Raptors have developed this culture of winning and development. It's not easy to do. And Scotty's going to be thrown into that. Realistically, you want him to start to lay the groundwork for his development as a player. So, I think back to DeMar DeRozan and when he came in, and a lot of people were surprised that he started in his rookie year. Well, they put him in because they wanted him to play against top-line players. I wouldn't be surprised to see the same kind of thing if he's not starting, to be in off the bench early for a few minutes just to see what he has. So you're starting that developmental process. So he starts to play against or recognize what good players look like, habits that good players build, things that good players do. And then within the framework of the team, I think you're going to see him take on a defensive role. I think you're going to see him get a kind of a limited offensive role with scope for development in certain areas. And then once that's done, now the next season, you keep that as the base and you build forward. And all you have to do if you're a Raptor fan is look at what happened with DeMar DeRozan and how he developed over the course of his 8-9 years as a Toronto Raptor. And in the first year, like I said, he didn't do a lot. He didn't contribute a lot. He got a lot of playing time. But again, they were on a track where they were trying to make the playoffs. So I think you're going to see much the same with Scotty. And I don't think people should be, expecting anything around all-star level. I mean, you have to measure him against the people that are in the same boat. Measure him against other rookies and also look at the situation he's in, because it's going to be very different from some other rookies that are on teams where they are going to have carte blanche and play a lot and are looked at as the new face of the franchise.
I want to shift the conversation now to Delano, because he's arguably a fan favorite off the court for his roots here in Toronto. Sherm, how do you see his role developing or what it could be this upcoming season, given that he's one of those 6'7" to 6'9" guards that Nick Nurse has?
Yeah, I really like his situation, Sav. I think when you look at Delano, he's got the length that you're talking about. He's got the athleticism, but he's rangy on both sides of the basketball. And to me, that's a benefit for him. And Nick Nurse loves those long defensive guys who can run the floor. And offensively, you can do some things. And we saw Delano over Summer League do some things. So I really like his situation. to be an energy guy on a team like this is a coveted role. When you think about, the responsibilities for scoring and other things like that are on other people's shoulders. You've got to be a floor, rebound the basketball, defend, get out and run the floor and create passing lanes, finish at the hoop. He has the ability innately to do those things. And I think when you talk about length, you talk about him, you talk about Scotty, you look at a lineup with maybe Pascal on the floor, OG, you have a lot of long bodies that have versatility on both sides of the basketball. So I really like Delano's opportunity right now, and being a homegrown kid and the support he's going to get finally with fans back in the building, that's going to be unbelievable. So I really hope he thrives, and I expect him to have a very good rookie season. And I expect Nick Nurse to really see what he can give early in the season, whether or not he can be a part of this rotation moving forward.
Well, very much looking forward to his development on this team. But let's go hear from the sophomores right now, Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa.
I think overall it's just a lesson it was for experience, really. Just got to experience it was a short season, but a season in NBA, even though it wasn't a typical one. So moving forward into this one, just kind of know what to expect, know what things to get better on, what things to look for during games, practices, and so on. So overall, it's just a good experience for me. Yeah, it's definitely good to be here for the first time, enjoying the fans and everything like that. The facilities are definitely a lot nicer. The city is nice. So I think just being back is definitely good for me, and I'm still kind of figuring the city out. So I'm still in the middle of it, but it's been good for sure. A little bit, definitely. I think in Tampa, it was just a little different. It wasn't our home. So being back here, it just feels like you're at home. When you come to the facility, you see Raptor stuff all over the city. So it definitely has that feel to it.
It's been great. Just coming in every day, competing at a really high level. Going against guys and getting a feel for guys' games and, how they want to play and where they like to operate from on the court. And also finding my way, within that and finding ways to impact the game, impact the team. Or, it's been great, just learning, getting a feel for guys. And just like I said out there, just competing. Of course, we want to win basketball games, and that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. I like to say I'm confident. I'm a confident person, and I don't put a ceiling to what I could, accomplish. I believe that if I put my mind to something, to learn something, I could learn it as long as I put the time and I work hard towards achieving that goal. And for me, everything comes down to falls down to hard work and how bad I want it and how much time I'm willing to put into it. So I don't, put myself, in a box or say this is my ceiling or I can't go past this. It's all about time and work. Just the way, we play is going to be a lot of, versatility. A lot of guys in the team, about 6'8" and up, 6'9", lengthy, could run, could do a lot of things. And if you look across the board, we're going to have to be able to shoot the ball. If you have that much guys in the team, especially, on defense, we're not going to have a lot of problems. Because we're just going to use our length and our switchability to, kind of like impact teams defensively and our aggression. On the offense side of the ball game, we're going to have to, shoot the ball at a really good clip. And that's one of the things that we really paid attention to this summer and the whole camp. I say my family and myself. I'm a really, really big critic of myself. I don't think nobody criticizes me as much as I do myself. And that's kind of where, my drive and my work ethic comes from, I believe, because I want to see myself get better more than anybody wants to see me get better. And that's kind of like, I always set goals for myself, like, I'm going to get here. And then when I get there, when I get close to achieving that goal, I set another goal. And just to keep myself going and, keep myself motivated.
You just heard from Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa, but let's get right into it. Jonesy, Malachi Flynn. What's his role going to be like? Where is he going to develop further? Because, Larry out, Goran Dragic in, and obviously Fred VanVleet, more than likely the starting point guard. So where does this leave Malachi?
Well, he's he's got to continue to develop. I mean, it's only his second year. We've heard his name a lot. He got a lot of playing time, but he has to continue to develop. And again, I'm going to go back the same way I used the DeMar DeRozan example. I'll use Fred VanVleet. Fred talked about it himself. He came into camp and latched on to Kyle and tried to learn everything he could from a veteran. He's talked about Malachi doing that with him. Now they have another veteran there, Goran Dragic, who, by all accounts, has been terrific in training camp, regardless of what was said in the summer. He's in drills and he's going to be another leader. There's another guy that Malachi can learn from. And what he's trying to do is learn the ins and outs of his team, his teammates, and then the rest of the league as he develops as a point guard. It's one of the most difficult positions to play because you are responsible for so much. And the same way Fred did it under Kyle's leadership, I expect Malachi to do that very much under the leadership of Fred and Goran Dragic.
Also, somebody, Precious Achua, Sherm, I think he's going to be a fan favorite just because he's a workhorse. He kind of really embodies that grittiness of the Raptors. But, how much do they really need him this year, being that bruiser, if you want to call him, or that guy that's going to get you the boards?
Yeah, he seems typecast for the Toronto fan base. That guy is going to grind it out and be physical and provide energy and be tough on both sides of the basketball. And, when I think and I try to relate him to players of the past, we all remember Kenneth Faried, the Manimal, that type of energy. Now, it's not on that level and that athleticism, but he definitely has a bit of that in him. He can move his feet laterally on the perimeter. He can get back to the basket and protect the paint and get on the glass. There are a lot of great qualities that the young man brings to the game. And as we all know, when you have that type of movement and mobility, you can become a better offensive player as you continue to develop your game. So I love that energy. I love his size, and I love his ability to impact the game on the defensive and offensive end.
Now it's time to hear from friend of the show, Chris Boucher, and head coach Nick Nurse.
When you look at it, it's like, okay, well, Chris, like I said, I think Bobby said that. It's like, okay, Chris is a vet now. So, I mean, obviously it's a little bit weird, but for me, it's like I said, I've been here for like more than 50% of my career. So every year I had to learn something, every year I had to change something. But I think we got young guys too that are really vocal, like Scotty. He's really vocal, and that's kind of leadership that we're bringing. I feel like Fred already is a leader, Pascal OG. So we got a couple of guys, and the youngins, obviously they until they understand the system, it's kind of hard to show some leadership, but they'll get there. And like I said, I was in the position. I was one of them before. I've seen what it is, what the years do, and how better you could get. So this is just year one for some of them. So it's more about patience and telling them what's really the goal here, and everything gonna be fine after this. I'm a little bit more. I think obviously now I gotta talk a little bit more, especially for the guys that play my position of the five. I gotta kind of tell them what to do, but also it's just about perspective. My perspective changed a lot through the years, and that's just because I've been here. So I could literally show you guys a different. Sometimes it's hard to see why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I coming at 9 and all that? But I could explain it to them because I've been doing it for like 4 years and I've seen the progress. So I could literally use myself as an example as what it does. I went to every camp this summer just to show them, like, even though I've been here for a couple of times, I'm still working on it. That's some kind of leadership that you're showing. And like I said, Fred did it before, Pascal did it before. It's just my turn now. And for these guys to get better at, you kind of need somebody that's already there to do it with them. And I'm happy to be doing it with them.
I think that when I come with a new idea or new thought, I really try to present it, to the team first and foremost, and then, usually a good portion of them will kind of get there and start under. We usually have a vision, a plan right behind it, and then some drills, and then to build it. But yeah, I think you're talking through the finer details, or why do you think, Coach, why do you want to do this? That worked just fine. I said, yeah, that did work just fine. This one might be better, I certainly talk to the guys that have been here. Really, mostly is usually, and not even that. I mean, I bounce ideas off Goran. He's been around a long, and he probably has more questions, because he's new yet experienced a lot, and it's interesting to kind of have that back and forth with him about, and it's nice to get his feedback about, well, I remember when we played you, this was a problem and that wasn't, and this was, and that, you know, some of that's always kind of good to hear too. Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, more and more in the league, you see the kind of the lob roll threat. It's really hard to guard, especially when the guard's coming off that's a scorer as well and talented to throw that thing late, because there's a lot happening there in a lot of those situations. But normally the roller is going to put some pressure on the rim and then therefore put pressure on the weak side of the defense, right? So you're either covering the ball, and if you're not, the roller's open. If the roller's open, the weak side's got to cover him, and then the weak side's open. So it's just kind of a thing. If you don't have that, then they don't have to play the weak side very honestly, or the rim very honestly, and they can play the weak side a little harder, and then again cover those things up easier. Just makes those threes tougher, and driving lanes close up a little easier. So yeah, a roller and guys that can roll are a tremendous advantage to any offense.
Welcome back to Raptors. Today we just heard from Chris Boucher, and Jonesy, it just felt like yesterday he was a little youth in that 905 grinding it out, but now he's a vet on the team. What's his role as a leader on this roster now?
Well, it's funny. You mentioned that. Pascal said he looked around the other day and said, man, I'm the old guy here. And I'm sure Boucher feels the same way. But his role is going to be in a leadership one by example, the same way he has always done that, very quietly, even when there were other, quote, more important or bigger stars here. He came in, he made things happen. I don't think you're going to see that change from Chris. And that in itself is leadership on how to play hard and how to give your team all you have. Now, the other side of that is for any of the younger players that are developed, Scotty Barnes, Delano Banton, any of the guys coming up and down on the rails from 905, all they have to do is look at Chris and say, you take advantage of the opportunity you have in 905. When you come up to the big team, stay within your role, do what you do best. And that's his contribution to the overall leadership, both with the team, for the vets, and for the younger players coming up.
Absolutely. And Sherm, this roster is built on a lot of length and versatility. I think it goes without saying how well this could also play in today's NBA game, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it.
Well, it's a great point. I mean, this is where the league has gone to, and now the length and the versatility on both sides of the basketball is essential if you want to have success. And remember, this is a league where everybody switches. You've got to be able to guard point guards. You've got to be able to guard bigs. And right now, Masai Ujiri and his staff and Nick Nurse, they put together a roster of some great length that is going to allow them that versatility, especially on the defensive end when it comes to defending bigger or smaller players.
The Raptors, they will return to Toronto on October 4th. That's Monday. You can watch the game on Sportsnet 1. They play Philadelphia at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you guys for watching Raptors Today from Jake LaRue. Behind the scenes, our producer, as well as Paulie Jones and Sherman Hamilton. I'm Savannah. Have a great day.